I'm willing to bet you've tried clamshell exercises before, but you may have done them in a way that didn't really target the desired muscles. So I'm going to show you how to set up to get the most out of the clamshell exercise. What you need is a couple of cushions, okay? Not too fluffy or firm, because you want to be able to support your head in the side lying position. You don't want your head to be flopped down. You want to create a nice neutral spine starting from the neck all the way through to the tailbone. The way you're going to set up in the side lying position has your ear aligned with your shoulder, aligned with your hip, aligned with your ankles. So bring those legs back such that your hips and ankles are in alignment, okay? Now, you should aim to have your knees bent at about 90 degrees. Now, you may be wondering what this other pillow is for. I like to have it underneath the rib cage. It's especially important that that pillow is kind of a floppy. You can even use a folded towel. That might work better in most cases. Now, once you're set up, what you're aiming to do, obviously, is keep the heels together while raising and lowering your upper bent leg like so separating the knees. Now, people tend to do this without thinking too much about where they're supposed to feel it, and maybe they're overdoing the range of motion and rocking around. One of the most important things after you align yourself and stack yourself, meaning upper shoulder on top of lower shoulder, upper hip on top of lower hip, is to then stay locked down. So you don't want to have rotation through your hips. You just want to isolate the movement to that leg. So the range of motion is not very big. Now, the other thing I'm going to ask you to do is take your thumb and place it in the front pocket area. So imagine yourself sliding your fingers into the front pocket of a pair of jeans or pants. That muscle that sits underneath the fingers, that's the tensor fasciae lata muscle. It's part of the hip flexor complex. It assists the hip flexor in many cases, but it also has a role in abducting, and externally rotating your hip in this way. And for some people, that muscle gets overworked and is doing the entire job of abducting or raising the leg away from the body and rotating it outward like this, when in reality, what we're trying to do is get some of those deep hip rotators and your glute medius to kick in a little more. And those muscles are located in your back pocket area. So if you were to imagine sliding your hand side and back just into the side glute area. So what you're going to do is place a finger in the front pocket area over that TFL, and it's a muscle just below the bone of your hip in the front, okay? So just walk your finger a little bit lower than the bony prominence at the front of your hip or pelvis, and then the remaining fingers are going to sit on the lateral or the outside of your glute, okay? Now, if when you keep your heels together and gently raise your leg up and down, you feel most of the muscular tension under your thumb and not in under your fingers, then you're a person for whom regular clamshells may only be exacerbating an imbalance of muscle strength and activation, which is to say that that front bunch of muscles is taking over too much of the work of what should be being handled by the back. Okay, so to kick the glutes in and those deep hip rotators in a bit more, what I'm going to ask you to do is one of two things. First of all, be aware, because sometimes just the awareness of trying to bring more activation to the back rather than that front muscle will help. It will go a long way. The other thing that helps though is to squish down the upper ankle to the lower ankle. So really press the heels together, mainly by pressing the upper heel against the lower heel. And if you do that forcefully as you perform this motion, you should and often will feel a little more activity in that back glute area. The other thing you can do, and I can't fully demonstrate it, of course, because I'm not against a wall, but imagine that my back was against a wall, and so the feet would be against a wall too behind me. I'm again aligning myself so most of my body would be against the wall. And what I can do is gently push back with my upper foot, mainly through the heel, into the wall, and then raise and lower the knee. And I'm doing it in a very slow, controlled manner. So not quickly, okay? I'm not just trying to get this thing done. I'm actually trying to focus on really squeezing the muscles of interest in that back pocket area, raise up for 2 and lower for 2. So give that a try. This sort of refined clamshell you might find very, very effective in strengthening the targeted muscles of the glute complex back there.